Welcome everyone for another inspiring episode of Unmute Podcast. This is a show which is really close to my heart, and whenever I conduct any episode, I feel so inspired by all the speakers who come here and share their journeys, their stories, and their, I would not say secrets only, but their master strategies as well. So before I start, I want to first thank each one of you who were with us on this journey and who will keep, sharing your feedbacks with us, your learning with us, that, you have learned this thing from the last podcast we have done. So keep sharing with us that whatever is your learning, how you are growing, and this also gave us some kind of a perspective that this is what we can bring as a topic next time when we are inviting any kind of a guest. When I say we, that means me and my team members. All right. So thank you so much. I'll start with my introduction first. If you are new to this particular podcast, it is an unmute podcast which is actually created with the intention to invite the speakers, thoughtful leaders, and the founders of the business who have done something differently. They call themselves entrepreneurs, coaches, or owner of some kind of a venture. But actually, what they have built is resilience by learning, by growing and doing different experiment, which we I bring them on this show and we do an inspiring conversation on the show. So if you are new to here and you're watching us live, please type live in the comments. If you're watching the replay of this podcast, please type replay in the comments. I'll take a pause and see if you are live with us so that I can personally welcome you on the show. Okay, we can see a few numbers, but if you do not type anything, we would not be able to, like, I would not be able to, say your name. So, I'll see that comment again. It will take some time to load. So, kindly, if you're watching this episode live, you can type live. If you're watching the replay, kindly type replay in the comments, and then we can start our today's episode. So, I'm going to start with my introduction first. If you already know me, you already know that I'm a digital coach. If you don't know me, I'm sharing my introduction again. So my name is Neha Garg and I'm a digital skills coach. I work with women entrepreneurs to make them tech savvy and thrive in the digital world so that they can grow their business online. That's about me. And today, the speaker whom I have invited, we want to talk about a very important topic which I have seen in so many women business owners who come up with the idea. They want to do something, but when they actually start doing something and they see a lot of responsibilities. Always remember, women are already having the responsibility of their own personal life, their family, relationships, and everything. Along with that, when an idea come and people start their business, what happen is there are a lot of responsibilities come. With a lot of responsibility, there is an identity shift happen. When there is an identity shift happen, people needs to do a lot of work in having a harmony in both the thing, life or personal life also, professional life also, and a lot of responsibilities have creating a new habits which actually looks difficult from outside, but is actually something has to be changed internally. So we're going to talk about this, and for this I have invited a inspiring leader, I would say, and I would just share us a simple introduction about her before I invite her for the conversation. Her name is Leena Munot, and she is a co-founder of Souvenir of India by the Giving Tree. It is actually a brand created, you know, to support, I would say, India's culture, so that people will understand that what are different cultures of India, and people can actually spread the words of Indian culture to other people. So she is here with us and she's going to share her success strategies and everything with us. So without any further delay, let's take her on the conversation. Lena, over to you. I would love to see you, and welcome to the Unmute podcast.
Hello, hello. Hi, Neha, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Lina. Welcome to the Unmute podcast. I have already shared your introduction. Can you just share with our audience like how you started this journey and just a little bit about your background, what you do, how you do?
Okay, so I'm a Bangalore-based Indian at heart, and I started out my journey at the age of 17. I got into entrepreneurship predominantly to make sure that I don't have to ask pocket money from my parents and my family. And that took me on a journey that continues to be where it is today. That's how it really started. And initially, it started out as love for handmade paper and all things environment friendly. That was the core that pulled me and drew me into this line. And over the years, we have seen so many more phases to how that entire business structure has evolved. It wasn't even a business when I started at 17, to be very honest. It was just a hobby. But it's very interesting how a hobby turns into a passion, turns into paisa, turns into profit, and turns into perseverance uh, if you allow yourself enough time to be on a journey. That's how I would put it.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's like when you're sharing that, I started at the age of 17. That means it's like, whole time that you have grown and everything. It's like, we can learn a lot of things from you today, which I can share with everyone. So it's like, when someone start, so it's like it's a starting phase, and for some time people call that person beginner, beginner, beginner. You are just starting, so take care of this, take care of this. People started guiding. So when you actually see your starting journey, when you started and now you see your journey, do you observe any major difference which you want to talk about and share with other, that what actually changed, and which can also happen in other women entrepreneurs lifestyle also when they are growing their business?
Yeah, sure. So to answer that part of your question, Neha, is, for a long time, people will call you a beginner. There's a fancy word to that today, which is called startup.
Yes.
But I think it's a very fancy word. When you call yourself a startup, the real work happens um, for companies, not even companies, for individuals, for women entrepreneurs like you and I, who start out on our own. We don't have, we are all bootstrapped. We are putting in our own savings and we're beginning what we call a business, or what
Yes.
we call an extension of our hobby, or what we call something that I see a lot of potential in and I want to grow that line, right? So initially, for the first 10 years of me running my business, everybody around me and people like family, like friends, like a lot of other people I met continued to call us a startup or a beginner. And it was very humbling because uh, if you take it on as a compliment, then you have much to learn. But if you take it on as something that somebody is making fun of you, calling your hard work hobby, then it can trigger you in a different way. So I've had both experiences. In certain setups, when people refer to my work as hobby, it would really make me angry. And I'd like, this is not hobby. If I'm spending 18 hours a day working on my so-called hobby, then it's no longer a hobby. It's what I do. It's what I stand for. It's what's bringing me money today. So it definitely is not a hobby anymore in my head.
Yes.
But unfortunately, the external world looks at it, especially if you come from a business family or you have business people who are judging you and your journey. They think it is a hobby till they don't see you make physical progress, which means until you bag that first big order, until you open that big store, until you say that you've got a funding, people people take you lightly. They don't take you for who you are. So from that perspective, my first 10 years was spent as being called a beginner in this journey. And I used a lot of it to just stay open and learn from. When I started business, there was not much of the internet to begin with,
Yes.
and there was definitely no AI. There were definitely no coaches around. There were definitely no YouTube, no podcasts, no learning. So we had to stick to old school books, or we had to, which were very academic in nature, or we had to just learn as we went along. And that's predominantly my journey. I
Mm.
just I would wake up with an idea and say, okay, I think this is what I should try doing today, and I would work at it, and then I would present it, take it to the client, and then see the response, and that's how I grew the business. So initial years, I was a beginner, and I enjoyed that journey because I stayed open. And what shifted for me towards where I am today after so many years in business is I still call myself a beginner at many levels because we are living in such a fantastic age and time that There is something new happening every minute. And my constant search is from a beginner or from a student perspective. Ki, what new can I learn today? What new tool can I use today to make my business more savvy, to make my business better, to make my team smarter, and to make my client uh, feel even more delighted. So it's a constant journey of being a beginner in this line.
Yes.
So, but what has also shifted over the last so many years is I know which pieces I'm a beginner at, and I know which pieces I'm a pro at. Pro may not be skills alone. Pro may be my resilience, my perseverance, uh, my attitude of not saying no has like you can't keep me down for long. We've seen COVID, and we are a gifting business, so you can imagine what COVID did to my business, right? And before that, we saw two recessions, we saw a slowdown, we saw wars, and I think that entire journey, what it taught me was, uh, you can keep me down for a bit, but I will spring back with some new idea. I will spring back with whatever it needs from me to bring out to the table to ensure that my business continues to grow. So that has been the shift. Like I know you put me in any situation tomorrow, I know I'll find my way out and I will make something of it, something worthwhile.
Amazing, and I think it's very powerful that the way you were sharing that you put me in this situation and all of that. I think so much is really empowering for a woman. If you see that she's struggling with her own issues, it's like family's not supporting, people are calling beginner, and they don't know, or I would say she don't know it's like how to go about it. What do you think that you can share with what helped you to actually handle your own emotions, your own personal, it's like a up and down time, so that they can also learn that strategy and apply for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Neha, you put it really well, saying that it is tough. When you're a woman, there is so much going on that, uh, like you said, there's families, there's relationships, and there's so much external judgment. You know, there isn't so much of a noise if the other gender fails at business or makes a mistake, there is more support. But when women struggle and when women fall or women hold back, then it is considered to be, oh, you don't have what it takes to do business. Why don't you just sit at home? Why don't you just do it as a hobby? Right? So I think, so to answer your question about what do we do with it, this music is going to continue to be there surrounding us all our lives as long as we live. Just like similar situations or similar set of challenges are faced even by men when they enter the business. It's different from us. We have it differently, right? So I think is to get used to the idea that this music is here to stay. What can you do to protect yourself from that music? So that would involve getting resilient from inside,
Hmm.
having belief in yourself. When the world is saying you're no good, and when you start feeling that, yeah, maybe I'm really not good enough, because it doesn't take you time. When somebody close by, when somebody close to you, like a well meaning loved one or a family or a friend or a colleague, looks at you and says, you've struggled for so long, give it up, it's not going to happen. It can be very heartbreaking, right? And at the same time, it can also make you believe that, yeah, maybe what they're saying about me is right. I really don't have what it takes. Yeah. So there are going to be many such moments in your journey, I feel, as an entrepreneur. And at every such moment that this you come to this choice point and saying, should I drop this or should I continue? Do I have it in me or I don't have it in me? Uh, Whenever I have been in that space, and I've been there several times in my entire journey, the only question I've asked myself is, if you had only 5 more years to live, would you die doing this work? Would you fight doing this work? Or would you just give it up today and say, okay, I'm done? And my answer has always been that I will die trying, but I will not give up. And It's not easy. There will be times when you'll break down, you'll want to pull your hair, you'll want to, you'll actually want to do a U turn on the very things that you said, I will move forward. Because when you make a decision about something, you're doing it you're doing it at a certain level of emotional strength. And that energy comes from there that, yeah, I'm going to do this. But 2 weeks later, something happens in the family and you say, I don't think I should do this. I think this is my priority. And especially women, we are very constantly questioned about our commitment to family when we start looking at careers. There's
Yes.
always a question, oh, that means your kids don't matter so much. You're so busy that you have to go and attend a client meeting. This is always going to happen. As long as you're a woman entrepreneur, this is going to be a thing in your life unless you get super lucky to have partners and children and family who support you. So I think at that time, it's very important for you to say, I know what my job is, and there's only one me. I cannot be at three different places at one time. I cannot be at my child's PTA. I cannot be at home serving hot fulkas. And I cannot be attending a client meeting. And I cannot be talking to my team at one time. So you've got to become masters of planning your time and building a support system.
Yes.
Yeah. And but it all begins by you committing to that journey. If that commitment does not come from you, it will shake. But still, are you willing to keep recommitting to yourself every single time this happens? Over a period of time, people will start taking you seriously. Over a period of time, people will start respecting your word. Over a period of time, your children, your family, your spouse, they will all learn to understand that she means business. She doesn't mean to ignore us, but she does mean business and she's going to go after her dreams. You're going to have to fight that battle. It's not the easiest place, but let me tell you, it's the most rewarding place. Because I believe if I am not happy, I cannot keep my children happy, I cannot keep my family happy. And if doing this business brings happiness and joy to me, then I'm sorry, but the rest of the family is just going to have to come around. And if they don't come around, I'll have to give them time.
True. एंड
Yeah.
आई इट्स लाइक इट्स घर घर की कहानी टाइप थिंग कि हर किसी के साथ ये सब कुछ होता है सो ये एवरी नॉट आई वुड से एवरी बट मोस्टली women are going to or maybe they are facing already these challenges it's like sometime I also feel like I'm doing a session in the evening I have work in the kitchen should I do the session should I go into the kitchen then I understood that I could actually finish my kitchen work before the session but I was not doing that and then I am just feeling stuck in the phase where I have the work pending in the kitchen so there's always a way which I can feel when you were sharing that master of time management that you become a master of planning of your time.
And to do this, see, to do this with a lot of sincerity.
Yes.
Sincerity doesn't mean getting serious. You can have a lot of fun. But if you can be sincere and pure at heart and say, look, I genuinely want to spend time with family and I genuinely want to do this as well, you will learn to find, like, that's where you will build your skill set, I feel, on
Yes.
learning to manage your time in such a way that you get some time for yourself, you get some time for family, you get some time for work, and each one works in a different schedule depending on your life journey. So pick what works for you, but make sure that you create a system for it so that it's not about you getting stressed about doing it all. We are not super women, we are just normal women. So, with super responsibilities. So, we've got to learn to keep it simple, is what I feel. And get team and support to help you out with, growing your work. Most women entrepreneurs struggle with getting a team member. They just feel, especially if they're a solopreneur, I feel they find it really uh, not so necessary or not so important to have a team member. But I always feel if you're a woman entrepreneur, please ensure you have a team. And let it be another, I mean, it can be a man, it could be a woman, it could be, whatever works for you. But always have one or two team members because the business continues to run.
Yeah.
Even if one of you needs to vanish for a bit for some other work, somebody else is there to hold the fort.
True.
And for us to be able to think beyond just us,
Yes.
Everything I will manage. No, you cannot. You already manage the entire house yourself. You don't create that same crap over here in work. You do something differently. You do something smartly.
Yes. And with team, I feel like, growing a business is faster than doing everything alone. Um, I have personally experienced that a lot of ideas in my coaching business came from the community member and the client I worked with, because
Mhm.
when they are sharing that what they are experimenting and what I am also doing, I felt like, what they are sharing, there is something which I can take and implement in my work as well. And through that we reinvented some of the ideas, then got new ideas. But if I would be doing everything alone, not talking to them, not taking their ideas even, it would not make any sense. So this is a very powerful thing. At least one person we need to start with, and I'm also looking for someone is like who can become a at least for a community team member, so that that person can handle some of the tasks, like even starting with sending the messages reminder or the invoice to someone, so
Yeah.
that I will be having a relaxed time.
Yeah. And I think when you do that, you learn to let go of control from day one.
Yes.
You cannot control everything in your business. You shouldn't. You
Yeah.
put systems in place slowly. By system, I mean simple things, simple routines, which you slowly hand over to one person and say, this is the list of people you need to call today. Please call them. Train them and move out. Train them and move out. And you will actually be able to have all that time to grow your business. If you want to go far, you will have to go with people. You can't go on your own.
Yes, true.
Business is not a solo sport. It's a group sport. So you'll have to get people to to make your life easier so you can do what you need to do.
Yes.
You've got the creative buzz, you've got the creative ideas, you've got the vision, you're working on growth. Now, when I'm working on growth, it's like the captain of the ship. The captain of the ship has to sit on the top. He has to sit on the deck. He cannot be down in the
Yes,
machine rooms trying to, operate on moving the ship in a certain direction. He will lose track. So if
true.
you're the captain of the ship, you'll have to have people inside the ship at the ground level who are operating the ship's machinery to keep it moving. You tell them turn right and they will turn all their whatever apparatus or machinery or equipment they have to make sure that the ship turns right.
Yes.
You can't do both. It's not possible. And that's why it's such a recipe for failure.
Hmm. And I think here the most challenging part is actually doing the work which is required to have a team member to delegate that work. Because I have personally seen that, I hired a video editor, but my video is not recording what the video editor is going to do. So this also which I face is like it's a hidden reason of why people not hire other people,
You're
because
waiting
something,
for an excuse.
yeah, true.
Somebody said hire, ठीक है चलो मैंने hire कर लिया, अब देखो उसने तो काम किया नहीं, मेरा double काम हो गया.
Hmm.
So it's better that I do it myself,
Yes,
and this is the trap.
this is
And,
the
and
trap.
there's a friend of mine who gave me this advice once,
True.
and it just was so liberating. She said, look, you have to keep hiring. It should be part of your
Everyone who is watching us live right now, she's coming in a moment. Yes, you were stuck, Lina. I was just saying that you truly said that this is a trap, and I personally feel that in the beginning, what people call it a self-employment, I would say not. I would say people call it I'm a independent business owner or solo entrepreneur. It becomes a self-employment trap after some time,
yeah,
when when one becomes habitual of doing the work again and again. So
yeah,
it's like, I'll be very honest. It's like initially when I hired someone, for me, it's like teaching that person that particular role, that you need to do this particular work, you need to send the messages to these particular people,
yeah,
and to create that message, because sometimes people don't know it's like how to do it. And hiring a video editor, do something for me. And I was like, that create extra responsibility, that initial days of hiring someone, guiding someone will be a tougher. And again, there is a thought that one day they are going to leave, maybe because of salary, personal reason, because they are not a salaried employee. There's somebody who's like a freelancer, kuch kiya and then they live.
yeah, yeah, yeah. True. Yeah. So here, two things. Either you go to an external agency to get your work done, okay, if that is cheaper. And if you and you say, okay, I really don't know how to train, so I will go. Like for example, if you have to build a website,
Mm.
you really have no clue on what needs to get done. So you go to an agency, you go to an expert, and they will do it for you, right? But if you're looking at hiring somebody to help you out, what has worked for me is initially I also was very resistant. I did not hire people or did not grow my team. And what I learned was this: the challenge was not in hiring people. The challenge was in me having no clarity about what their role is going to
Yes.
be. Because as an entrepreneur, you're doing everything.
Mm.
You're doing part accounts, part marketing, part sales, part repair work inside your office. Whatever your business needs, you're doing it. So if somebody says pull out a role, you really don't know how to do it. So if you can come up with a role and say, okay, you will get one person, forget whether he's going to join, leave, work for 6 months, go away after 6 months. That's none of our thinking. We have no control over it. But in the process of teaching somebody else on what is the role that he needs to play in your business, you become a master at systematizing your own business.
Mm.
So you make the role and you keep it ready. When I have somebody like this, these are the things I want them to do. Now look for people who will fit that role, and you will have to learn to train them. You know how to do it yourself, so you'll have to be patient and say, I will train you. It'll take you 2 months to train them, but from the third month onwards, you'll start getting back your time to yourself.
Mm.
They will leave. Of course, they will leave. If they grow, they will leave for whatever reason. But that does not mean you stop hiring.
Mm.
What you do is you say, okay, the next person who comes, I will get even better at training them. I will train them within a week. I will hire better because I know what made the first person leave. I will have better ways of hiring people. You get better at hiring, you get better at training, and that entire gap starts to become smaller and smaller.
Mm. And in the process, we'll get the time which we require.
100%. Absolutely. Like I just made it, my routine would start with how many interviews am I doing today? Just for two roles. But it's
Mm.
okay. Today I've got 4 interviews. Okay. Just keep interviewing, keep hiring, keep firing, keep hiring, keep firing.
Mm.
You hire and fire 20 people, you will get two gems who will stick on with you and make your journey so much more worthwhile. This has been my experience. So I think it is something that we really must try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nay, about this, the whole perspective, I realized something which many women business owners who start this journey, they have the idea, they're experimenting, but there is no seriousness behind that. If I hire people and if I build the team, if I grow like this, I will actually achieve this, because there is again a goal is not associated sometimes that this much work has to be done in this month so that we will be together achieving this particular thing. So I think it's all come down to a point where a person who is starting a business needs to know the goal. What is the goal I need to achieve for my business this particular month? Correct?
Absolutely. And thanks to AI, it's become super simple to do.
Yes.
You make AI your planner. Say, this is what I want to do. I
Hmm.
want to achieve this turnover, or I want to reach these many clients. Whatever is that thing that you want to achieve for yourself. Say, this is where I am. So
Hmm.
give me a roadmap. Tell me in month one what I need to do, month two what I need to do. It's beautiful. It's, oh my God. Like if I had AI 25 years ago, my business would be in a different place today because
Yeah.
there was so much of brainstorming we had to do on our own. And there's only so much you can do after a point, then you get stuck. But now, today, with AI and the amount of YouTube videos and teachers and mentors and coaches, setting a goal should be the should be the least difficult.
Yes. True. Main thing is what I understood about the goal setting is who's actually is the goal even inspiring enough to do the work? If the goal is actually a my goal or something, because in depth about any work which someone had started, there's some reason of, I want appreciation, that's why I started this business. I want money, I started business because of that. So a lot of thing which is a hidden thing. And I personally being that, team building comes last, because of these are the basic things which, sometimes people have not worked. So like for me, when I started with this one-to-one coaching, initially it was like, just let me see what I can do with this coaching, and later on it became a full-time work. So I am understanding that, when you started with full fledged that I want to go ahead with this particular thing. And that time, I can actually visualize that you don't have any AI, you are doing everything offline. And that time even social media is just for a fun time pass. And right now also there are a lot of business running offline, they are not dependent on online only. And are there any kind of strategies which you can share, which can work for people who want to build it offline? Like online is there, building their profile, online presence, and everything is there. But that I personally feel that is a validation for a business, that this product or services has a brand market value. But if you can share any offline strategies which can help, all the women entrepreneur to grow the business, which really helped you in those 24 years.
Okay, so I would broadly put your going offline in business or online in business, anything to do with the marketing your business, right?
Yeah.
I will put them into two buckets. One would be push and one would be pull.
Yes.
For me, when you're in the online space, you're creating a pull for your business. You're putting yourself out there and you're saying, hey, this is what I do. These are some of the user generated videos. These are some of the coaching tips that I'm giving. You're giving them small bite sized pieces to taste the kind of work that you're doing. Okay. You're creating curiosity, you're creating traction, you're creating maybe even leads will come through the online. Offline is where you will do push work, where you will actively have to pick up. A lot of people say, I'm doing all this online and now people will just start coming and they don't do anything on the offline space. Offline is where you push. You
Mhm.
actively go out and look for customers to serve. So that would involve making phone calls to people, connecting with people online, like maybe you connect with somebody on LinkedIn over a conversation, and then you take that conversation offline and you probably have a online meeting with them, or you go and have a personal meeting with them, or you have a phone call with them to pitch your product or service. That's extremely important.
Yes.
So being online, we are living in a cuckoo land. I got so many likes, I got so many shares, I got so many views. It means nothing. Because at the end of the day, if you're not able to sit across the table and talk to another person and offer him your product or service in a way that he wants to buy, then the entire game is questionable. If you're running a business to look pretty, then that's a different game. But if you're running a business to uh, make profit, to grow, then you will have to have offline. Because ultimately, decisions are made between two human beings. Until that connection is not established, nobody is buying from you.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
So we need to go offline, meet with people, build a connection. And I think a lot of thing involved is it's like what is our day-to-day lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like
it's not that difficult, Neha. See, initially, I just feel this whole thing has got flipped.
mm,
Initially, if you notice, we lived in a very offline world, in a very touch-feel world,
yeah,
right? And then the company said, no, 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 now let's go one to many. So we'll build online channels and we'll syndicate information to the world. And they've forgotten the one-to-one connection with people. When you meet people one-to-one, you are getting so much of real-time information about growing your business. You will have so many growth strategies because they'll share real problems with you. And you'll be able to you'll come up with real solutions for them. Meeting
right.
a person face to face for a business requirement, I think is the ultimate hack to growing your business and to growing yourself as an entrepreneur, because you're really in the real world, you're connecting with people, you're seeing what they like, you're seeing what they don't like, You're seeing what their problems, pains, needs look like. And if you're a smart entrepreneur, then you will go back and you will switch your product, or you will reposition your product in a way that answers that problem, or relieves that pain that they're going through.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's why there are so many, you know, so many businesses that are still old school and they run offline.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would give a lot of weightage to offline because offline is real. Online can be made to look very jazzy. I can get fantastic paid user generated videos. Very fancy looking, but finally you will fall if you don't have really good product and services to back that up. And that is the reality that nobody is talking about.
Yes.
Everybody
From
thinks,
there,
oh, you do a paid ad and then you make so much of turnover. Go back and check the stats. How many people who put in their money in paid ads actually generate that kind of turnover? Very few. The larger chunk of them go bust because they don't have systems in the back to support it.
true. And that's the reason, after investing a lot of money,
Mm,
many business owners fail after some time because there is a problem which needs to be fixed in what is the product they are selling, what is the services they are offering. And from there, actually, if they start creating a shift, they will see that whatever they are doing the work on themselves, and external marketing and sales and everything is actually working. So it's like, a simple example could be, it's like, let's take from your share, like you are into corporate gifting. So in the last 24 years you might have done a lot of experiment while you're working on yourself, you're building your team. So what do you think is like biggest mistakes people do while they are bringing their ideas into reality with different options available in the market? Like I still remember when we had a conversation, you said that we had a lot of categories first, then we cut it down, then we went back. So back and forth, whatever you have done, would you like to share some mistakes which people should avoid when they are actually working on their product or services?
yeah. I think few mistakes that one can avoid is to get stuck. I think the biggest mistake we make as entrepreneurs is to stay stuck and stay closed. It's almost like saying I'm putting my head in the sand, hoping that the storm will pass. It won't. So it may not be true in every case, but you'll have to use your intelligence and your awareness to see, are you avoiding a situation, or are you very confident and you're saying, I will let the situation pass, but I will stick to my product and service. Okay. So when we started our business for the first 10 years, we did only environment friendly gifting, which was predominantly paper products. And we had some fantastic customers. Like for the last 25 years, I had the same customers coming back to me even today. Okay. But having a good customer, or getting a good customer and keeping a good customer, is far more tougher than to get a new product. My best customer would not buy paper every year. He would buy something else as a gift. He would want an electronic gadget. He would want maybe accessories. Maybe he would want apparel. Maybe he would want office merchandise. And I wasn't selling any of it at that point. So we pivoted. We said, okay, here's my customer who's got a great relationship with me, who trusts me, and who's been a good client. So now I will get him whatever else he requires for gifting. So that's when we opened our doors. We moved from 50 products to 5,000 products or more. We ran that game for 15 years very successfully. We enjoyed the journey. We grew our business. And 3 months ago, when we just started our 25th year in business, we came to a realization that we manufactured these first 50 products that we were talking about. And the other 5,000 products, we were trading, we were buying and selling. And we realized, okay, it's time to go home. The market has changed, the economy has changed, the game has changed. So we said, okay, we no longer want to play that big game of 5,000 products. We want to play a bigger game, but with just 50 products. So we downsized again from a product perspective. But our focus has become so laser now that we are only going after what we want. That is only Souvenirs of India. I no longer say I do corporate gifting. I say I do only India-based gifting. So I've created a micro niche for myself in the business, right? So here I feel the mistake one shouldn't make, or it's better not to make, is to get stuck. If 15 years back I had said I will not change, I will just do these 50 products, I would have closed my business.
True.
Okay? Because I did not have so many customers back then.
Yes.
Today, because I have so many customers, and because India is now looked at a country where we are one of the superpowers in the world. We are growing economically. We are a world that we are a country that the world looks up to now. And Indians are now more proud about being Indian than they ever have been. So now is the time when people will proudly wear a made in India t-shirt and say this is made in India rather than wear a American made or a European made apparel, right? So
True.
you look at so many aspects when you're looking at pivoting, but the mistake you don't want to make is don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck. Stay
True.
stuck to the idea that you want to grow your business. Don't stay stuck to the way you want to do it till
Yeah.
you get enough experience. Once you've tried 4, 5, 10, 15 things, then you say, okay, this is my sweet spot. You will realize that this is what works for you. This is your expertise. But till you don't play around a little bit, you won't. I feel it's different to read about something, but when you get into the field and dirty your hands in the mud is when you really get life lessons and you know what works for you, where your heart is. Like, because I've always loved, I mean, I've always been a proud Indian and I've loved everything about my country on so many levels. For me to pivot back to Souvenirs of India was the most natural thing to do.
True. And I think experiment is something which gives us a different perspective as well.
Yeah. And people mistake an experiment with a plan.
Yeah.
And then they blame that, say, oh, I make a plan and it doesn't work. No. Before plan comes experiment. Please experiment first and allow yourself the playground to make the mistakes. That's called an experimental place. From there, you take your lessons and then you set up a plan.
Right.
So
That
there's
makes
a lot of difference between experimenting and planning. I feel people mix the two and then they go for doom. They're like, oh, I don't have what it takes. And then
mm,
what everybody else around you tells you that, oh, you're not cut out for this or this is not working. And look at you, you've been working on it for so long. Nothing has moved. All that comes to get at you.
yeah. So experiment will also come with the option of continue or just stop. Plan will come with continue something. So plan A, plan B, plan C, there can be different plans to
Yeah,
for the experiment itself. That this is my experiment. I'm going to try this. If it worked, then these are my plans to continue. So I
absolutely.
can connect
And
the
no matter
dots.
how big your business, you will always have to have an experimental lab. Always. People call it research. I
Hmm.
call it experiment, whatever is the word. But you always got to have a rough notebook where you're continuously doing these experiments and then picking up those pieces and then taking them to the planning stage and making it grow and testing it out.
Yeah, and
Very,
I call it a creative genius who actually tell us, okay, this is what you heard there, now you can try this. It's like online, there are a lot of experiments happening. So I feel like hybrid of, working online and offline actually right now is the key where people are going to get both the visibilities and from there they can actually go ahead. But one thing which is not very powerful that how you did the micro niche and you stick to the variety because stand is something that I have only these options for you.
yeah.
So it's like I go to a shop and I buy something, the person is saying that last option is there only. This kind of thing happen. So
No,
thank you so much, Lena. It was a very amazing, conversation. I would continue over and over, and this will actually go for more than an hour as well. But to keep my, time in
sure.
mind, um, uh, can you share us like one powerful advice or lesson or something to share with other people who are watching right now, and it's like they can apply while. I will talk about the my audience, which actually I know personally. It's like a women entrepreneur who's a solo entrepreneur, want to build a team. but not knowing how to build a team, how to go about it, having a cash flow problem, not having the clarity about, how do I actually grow this business alone, want to work on herself. As I told you that, that's the reason why we have selected this topic called identity shift. Like when your identity shift, what you actually do, right? So here, if you want to share any powerful advice for them, so that they can start working. And especially one thing which I forgot to ask is like, something which you can say that which they are doing, which they can do differently, like anything from your personal experience, like any kind of a habit they need to change, or any kind of a uh, I would say simply or suggestion for them that you can share for the audience.
Okay. So two big questions in there. One is, um, because we're talking about shifting identity as your main
Yes. Yes.
topic today, I think I'd like to use this space to remind the women entrepreneurs who are listening to this podcast is that uh, when you look, how do you look at yourself when you call yourself an entrepreneur? If you're looking at yourself as somebody who's just this small, who's insignificant, who's powerless, then that's the space you will be in. Who are you when you're at home? You're a superwoman. You're managing. I mean, when most of your if you're women entrepreneurs who are married and settled with children, you know how tough it is. You just left everything behind in your parental family homes, and you walked into this house with no experience whatsoever of how it is to run a family. And please look back and look at the amount of amazing work you've done so far. You've brought up families, you're bringing up children, you're managing the senior citizens at home, you're managing both the families, and you are telling me that you are just an entrepreneur, you don't have the skill set. Please think again. If you can do it in a family setup with absolutely no experience, and you've done it so well, please learn to trust your managerial instincts, learn to trust your leadership instincts, learn to trust your creative instincts, which you have already showed in the families that you're running today. You just need the same mind and skill set to come into business. That's how you'll grow a team. That's how you will get new skills. That's how you'll go out there and do whatever you need to do to become an entrepreneur. It is not rocket science. So that's, I think, my first piece of advice when it comes to shifting identity, to shift who you look at yourself as. That is the shift in identity. If you think I'm just a small time player, most people say I'm just an entrepreneur or I'm just a homemaker. You are never a just something. The minute you say I'm just a homemaker or just an entrepreneur, you've already told the opposite person that I'm just this much. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a founder. I own a business. I co own a business. Has so much more power to it. So you've got to take on the identity that you want the world to look at you from. If you want the world to look at you and say, wow, that's an entrepreneur I really want to follow or be inspired by, then you become that entrepreneur inside your head first. In sports, there's a wonderful saying: you can never run a race and win it until you think like a champion.
True.
You don't run first and then become a champion. No, you've got to first think that I am the champion, and then the resources, the energy will come to that level, and then you run the race. And that's how a champion is. So I think that's how you need to, when you say shift identity, please shift the identity in your mind about who you are and who you see yourself as. The world will follow.
Thank you so much, Lena. It was so powerful, and I was listening with a full focus that what you actually shared is the truth. That's
Yeah.
the reason. It's like what I think about myself is actually the reason how I look at the world. So thank you for sharing this, and all those people who are watching us. I hope you get a lot of insight. Wish we had a lot, more time to have a conversation this. But I would highly recommend that whatever you have learned from this conversation, do apply. Do let us know that share the topics which actually helped you. And if we get a chance, we'll invite her again. Yes, Lena.
Right.
Thank you so much
Thank
for joining us for this Unmute podcast, and gratitude for your time. And if anyone wants to, just learn from you, I'll share your Insta links so that they can follow you on Instagram and they can continue learning from your inspiring journey as well.
Oh,
Yes.
right. Thank you so much, Neha. And thank you everyone for listening in, for watching us live. And I hope you take away one or two things that you think you can apply in your business and in your life. And you can genuinely shift your identity from this point. Thank you. Thank you so much, Neha.
Great. So I'll just wrap up the whole conversation. And okay, I need to do one setup here. All right. So thank you so much everyone for watching us live. And if you're watching the replay also, kindly share your takeaways with us in the comments, and let me know if there is any topic in your mind on which you want me to have a conversation. We are having, podcast lined up coming in the future. So stay tuned with us for any other feedback if you have for us. Kindly share through DM, and I would love to meet you in the next upcoming podcast as well. So thank you so much for joining us live. See you everyone. Take care.